What's up, y'all? It's your girl Chanel from Complex Simplicity. If you're wondering why I didn't automatically break into the welcome to whole scene, it's because your girl's trying to step it up, and I used iMovie on my Mac computer and was playing around trying to create an intro to my videos for the website so that they look a little bit more polished. I still kept it a bit raw, which I like. I feel like that's a huge part of my whole complex simplicity theme, where everything doesn't have to be like everyone else's and so perfect. And as soon as you see the video, the words come across. I just used some images that I already had used on the website for the year and change that it's been in existence. And I pretty much used thoughts, quotes, complex simplicity apparel, as you saw, pictures of myself that I actually posted under the everyday fashion for an everyday girl section of the website. Just all things that embody complex simplicity, all things that embody me, Chanel Casimir. As you know, I love music, I love fashion, I love controversial topics, I love sharing my perspective, I love empowering and encouraging everyone, including myself. And it's just all the things that make up this brand that I'm building, right? So I said maybe it's about time to switch it up a bit. Every so often, every couple of months, I like to change it up so that I'm not as mundane and monotonous and predictable, right? So I hope you like it. Let me know how you feel about it. So this way you don't always have to see me doing my zhuzh, right? Not all the time. And mind you, I was getting tired of like doing that. Sometimes I would be so tired and I would peel myself off of the living room sofa you see in the background and wouldn't really be in the mood to do, which would probably reflect the videos that were a lot more dry than others. Those were nights that I was sleepy or maybe not feeling too good. So at least with this, I could just jump into the message and not have to worry about the chair choreography, as I always say, right? It's fun sometimes, but other times I just want to get to the nooks of it all, or crooks of it all. I was like, what am I going to talk about tonight? I really don't know. I did an audio recording yesterday that I uploaded to the website. So I wasn't really sure what I wanted to talk about today. FYI, the audio recording I uploaded yesterday was entitled How We All Need to Stop Getting Caught Up in the Matrix. And if you're wondering what that means, you gotta head over to the thought-provoking audio recordings of section of the website, and you'll be able to hear all about it. But today I returned to work from being on vacation for pretty much 2 weeks. And although today was a dreadful day, right? Like, who really wants to go back to work when you're coming off a vacation? Unless you love what you do, which is what your girl's trying to work towards. But it was a bit of an effort to get ready for work and to jump in the car and to take the hour, 45-minute drive and to then be productive. I don't know that I was too productive today, if I'm being honest. But I was able to speak with one of my coworkers who I often have deep conversation with, and about life things and relationships. And this coworker mentioned something interesting to me. They were like, I think I had mentioned something like, oh yeah, you know, my husband, thank God I don't have to worry about dinner this evening. My husband told me before I left the house this morning that he was going to make tacos. So instead of it being Taco Tuesday, I guess in my household it's going to be Taco Wednesday. And my coworker was like, yo, I think that's dope. Like, your relationship is like, that's what I would want. And it's funny, my sister-in-law said the same thing to me the other day. Not that she would want my relationship, but just, she was just saying that, you know, you and your husband, you guys make marriage look so easy, because thankfully we will be married for, it'll be 3 years that we've been married, October 10th, right? So our 3rd anniversary is coming up very quickly. And, you know, my brother just got married a couple of months ago. So his wife was just like the other day, you know, you and your husband make it look so easy, you know? And I said, don't get me wrong. We're like normal people. You know, you have your ups and downs. I said, but I think what makes our relationship and marriage a bit unique is the fact that we had a good handle on who we were prior to getting married and had a good handle on who each other were, right? I always say this, I'm not the poster child for long relationships, long-term relationships, as far as you're just dating for years and years and years without the end goal of marriage. I'm not the poster girl for that. What I will say is, my husband and I think, dated for about almost 7 years before we got married. And so I have girlfriends who tell me, girl, my first year of marriage was hard, it was rough, it was like a lot. And I think my husband and I didn't go through that because we had 7 years of experience with one another, right? So 75 to 80% of the way, we both knew what we were getting into in terms of marrying one another. So there's always that 25 to 30% that we're still learning about one another, right? But for the most part, it's safe to say that my husband and I had a good handle and take on who each other were, and even just as importantly, who we were individually. And we definitely work as a team. That's something that's very important to us. And like I said, I always say he's my best friend. So I don't, for whatever reasons, how our love story is, what our story entails, we've had it pretty good so far. Don't get me wrong. You have your ups and downs, and I'm pretty sure we have hurdles to face, right? But I think we have a good method in how we run our household, our marriage, and how we communicate with one another. And so to hear my coworkers say, you know, like, wow, I kind of wish, like, I want what you guys have eventually. I would love to be able to have that kind of a relationship. To hear, sometimes I hear my girlfriend say it. One of my girlfriends is like, you know, one of our other girlfriends, referring to one of our other girlfriends, you know, so-and-so may kind of wish they had a marriage like yours, or want to emulate what you have. Not saying that they're jealous in a way that they don't want you to have what you have, or they want to take what you have, but they admire your marriage and how you and your husband are with one another. And then I hear my sister-in-law say, you know, you and your husband, y'all make it look easy, you know. And so I don't say all of these things to gloat or to be like, I'm that chick, we that couple, want to be us. Like, no, that's not the purpose of any of this. What the purpose of what I'm saying is ultimately that when I hear that, it encourages me, it encourages my heart, because at the end of the day, I always wanted to inspire others with my own love story. It's funny, when I was planning my wedding, I used to say to my mom, my husband, my bridesmaids, like, I want people to come to my wedding, especially if you're single, or if you've been in your relationship and you're going through it, or if you're married and y'all are like bumping heads, like, are we gonna make it, Lord? Like, I wanted my guests to come to the wedding and actually feel inspired. Like, for those who are single, I wanted them to feel like, I'm motivated, I'm encouraged, this is gonna be me one day. I know that my spouse is out there, God's got me. For those who are in relationships and wondering whether it was gonna get to that marriage, get to Marriageville, I wanted them to feel encouraged, that, you know what, we can get there, love. We gonna make it. We gonna be all right, right? And then for those who are married and maybe going through things, to kind of, or even just married in general, you might have been married for a long time, to kind of feel like you could reaffirm your love and like, yo, I love you so much. We got this. This is beautiful. Love, marriage is a great thing. I wanted to be inspirational with our story. I wanted to be inspirational with our wedding. And I wanted the atmosphere to ooze authenticity, real love, real people, declaring their devotion and commitment to one another. So I feel like in some ways we achieved that, and it just warms my heart when I hear other people who seem like they're encouraged, motivated, or empowered by what they feel my husband and I exude together as a union. And if I told my coworker today, it is my dying wish to really feel, or I will feel like I lived out my life's purpose, if I'm able to continue to encourage, empower us all. You know what I'm saying? Whether that's matters of the heart, meaning love, whether that's, you know, matters of our emotional and mental health, whether that's overall just putting things into a different perspective that one might not have ever thought of or looked at in that way. Like, I really want to be helpful, you know, and I really believe that that's part of my purpose in life, and what God made me to be, or kind of mixed in the ingredients when making me, right? And so I feel like that's the crooks, the nooks, whatever you call, whatever the phrase or term is called, of a lot of what I do. So whether I'm putting my hands to do ministry work, whether I'm having everyday conversation with someone, whether I'm singing a song, whether I'm expressing my perspective, I'm hoping that that is what is exuding from me completely, empowering, encouraging others, and at times challenging us all, including myself. And so for those out there who are going through trying times in their relationships, for those out there who are going through trying times within themselves, you're still searching for something, you're trying to figure out why you're not happy, why you may be feeling miserable, you're still trying to get to know who the heck you are. All I can say is, let's all just put in the work, right? I feel like I'm a broken record a lot of times on this website with a lot of my messages, but I still feel it very important to share. And I was sharing with this very same coworker that a lot of times in life, we will find ourselves going through the same things, the same tests, trials, and tribulations, perhaps, if we didn't learn what we were supposed to grasp the first time around, or the first couple of times around. And if you find yourself saying, "Dag, the last 5 years, I feel like my life has been stagnant," or, you know, when is it going to be my turn for love? Or, why am I feeling so unhappy and miserable within myself? There's something to that, perhaps. Maybe there's still some things from within that still need to be ironed out and worked out. And I know this is very controversial to say for my single people or people who want to be married, because I come across a lot of young ladies and men who have that desire to share their lives with someone. And what I found is perhaps it could be, if you're still single and you feel like you're in your 30s and above, maybe there's still something inside that requires some work. Whether that's really rolling up your sleeves and figuring out who you are, what it is that you want in life, start trying to chip away at what your purpose is. If there is something that God is requiring from you that you're not really wanting to completely submit yourself to, which is me at times, a lot of times, you got to figure that out. That could sometimes also stand in our way. Maybe our self-esteem is not as intact as we think. Maybe our self-worth, our confidence. Maybe there's some childhood issues because of whatever and however we were raised by our parents. Maybe there's something there that we have to figure out. You know, do we view men or women in a healthy way? Do we know how to interact and be emotionally vulnerable? Can we even be emotionally vulnerable with ourselves, furthermore someone else? So I think it's just a matter of really digging deep and maybe gaining a certain level of independency, as I always say, that's needed. I am a huge believer, and I know I say this all the time, I think it is so important, women, men, live on your own, experience having to take care of yourself before you live with someone else. And not even just about the finances of it all, that's very important, but also about having a certain alone time, I think, is necessary. When I lived on my own for several years, that also helped me to really have my personal time with myself to figure out who I was evolving and growing to be. You know, sometimes when we're always in the company of others, or, you know, we were living with our families and we never really get that moment to just be still and be quiet in our own safe haven, our home, we can miss out on a lot of important things when it comes to who we are and what we're looking for, what we want, what we need to work on. Sometimes too much noise is so distracting. And so there's a lot to being on your own. There's something to that that's very important. I know as a single young lady, and even when I was dating my now husband, I felt it very important for me to live on my own, take care of myself, get from underneath my parents' supervision, so to speak, and learn how to fend for myself. Learn how to make it in hard times. It teaches you what you're made of. It forces you to be creative. It forces you to be more responsible. And so I think there are a lot of hurdles that we must jump and face